Okay, this identification is a very broad, large identification. Um, so you just need to know a few facts about the Civil War. Um, so the American Civil War took place between 1861 and 1865. And then we see the map that the fighting really occurred strongly along the line between, you can see red and green, you see Tennessee, Kentucky, Y for Kentucky, VA for Virginia. There was a lot of fighting there in North Carolina, in Virginia, up by Delaware and Maryland, South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi. Mostly North and South fighting, not really East to West. Um, some in Texas, and mostly the North was very industrial, had many more factories, uh, because of free labor and not a slave system. You had a stronger industry in the North. The geography favored that too. You had better railroads, so that um, more men. So the North had an advantage with industry, and the South was more of a farm culture with slaves working on farms. So much less industrial. So for a long 4 year war, it would greatly favor the North. And so a couple other facts about the war. The war was very, very deadly. The most deadly war on American soil by far. 750,000 soldiers were killed, um, which you can write down as the casualties, and countless more were severely injured. And this is tremendous losses considering, machine guns and airplanes had not yet been invented. There was some metal boats, some rudimentary type submarines, but very accurate. This is mostly with rifles and ships and not really advanced artillery. So it's quite a high number, 750,000 dead between both sides. Um, and so the war was between the pro-slavery South against the anti-slavery North. And of course, it was over the Union too, but obviously the Union would not be breaking up had it not been for the issue of slavery. Um, okay, so, and it went on for 4 years. It costed 750,000 soldiers. The war put brother against brother, family against family, um, and went on for the 4 years before um, the North started to win. You see here the war. It says war, war, war is on some newspapers cover. Highly important from Charleston, which was where Fort Sumter was. Um, so here's like an artist rendition of the picture. I see the North is the Yankees, um, those against slavery, and the stronger army, obviously with the U.S. flag. The Yankees are the North, they were called. And then the Confederate flag, where you have the Southern soldiers, um, and you see fighting with bayonets and rifles. This was going on all along this border area between South and North. With um, here's another picture. You can see the Confederate States of America. They even put in their own president temporarily, Jefferson Davis. Um, they completely broke off and thought they were going to have their own country. But Lincoln would not accept that. Lincoln said, no matter how long it takes, he's keeping the country together. And then, of course, in the end, slavery would be ended. Um, but Lincoln was committed to that. It was his, uh, he did not waver on that. So you can see in blue, you see in dark blue, it says free states. Light green is territory, but those are free territories, not yet made states. Oregon and California over in the west were free states. Um, and you had important generals fighting out in California also for the North to protect California from being taken over by the Confederate States. And then all the northern states in blue, New York, Maine. You can see Illinois here where we are, right off the Lake Michigan. And so men from these states were either drafted or volunteered to fight in the war. And they got into a war that many had no idea how violent that it really would become, but they joined and went down and fought. All right. Just a shot of a cannon. And it was just all across the South-North era. You had many famous battles like Antietam and Gettysburg and Shiloh, and you could spend as a military historian, and I am a large part a military historian too. You could spend an entire semester on the Civil War, but for this purpose, we know that there was battling going up and down the areas between North and South. And in many ways, some people would say the first modern war, because you have photography, you have trains, you have railroads, shipping men and equipment. So some historians call this the first modern war. But yeah, you don't have machine guns or airplanes. It's not that modern, but some call it the first modern war. Okay, and then this last slide of the Civil War and this very general discussion of the Civil War, which then ended in 1865. So what is the Civil War? The Civil War started in 1861, ended in 1865. It was a war to preserve the Union with the larger abstract concept of slavery, which was what divided the Union. And Abraham Lincoln was the president of the North. Okay, and in the end, the North did win the war in 1865 at Appomattox Courthouse, was the final battle. So that, you can write some of that down. It's in your notes. If you need to look up some dates, that's fine. But in general, try to use stuff from the lecture because it makes a much better identification. Okay, so that's it for the Civil War.